Welcome to toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi, and today we're going to be reviewing 4 new retro style Star Wars figures from Stan Solo, and these are all Astromech droids. The main 3 figures are available as carded and also as loose, and there is a special custom one that is designed to look like Boba Fett, which you can only get loose. Now the 3 carded versions we have are R3-Y2 from The Empire Strikes Back, we've got R2-Q2 from Star Wars, and R3-A2 also from The Empire Strikes Back. Let's take a look at each one of them individually and I'll show you all the details. First up we have R2-Q2, who you see on the Death Star in the first Star Wars movie. Now this is available on a card, as you can see, and this is a nice sort of early Star Wars card. It's got some fantastic artwork on the front. I do like this image that they've chosen of the R2-Q2 droid, and I like the fact there's a bit of sort of work going on in the background, a little bit of sort of airbrushing, because a lot of the early Star Wars cards had that. They would take an image of a figure and then sort of airbrush around it to make it look the part, and I think this actually works very well and makes it feel like a proper vintage card. You can also see that you get the figure there, which has a nice sort of pink background to it, and there's also a little pink footer card that goes underneath it. On the front it just says R2-Q2, and if we turn this over you can see it is a 21 back card, so it shows the images of the first 21 figures, and down in the bottom you can see that it is clearly marked Stan Solo. But this card shouldn't sort of confuse anyone, because as I say, this figure was never released before. It's an all new sort of retro style figure from Stan Solo. The figure itself, as you can see, nice lot of detail in that, nice sticker on it, and a new sort of dome. This is a solid dome with some extra paint detail added to it. But let's take a look at the loose figure so you can see that in greater detail. So here we have the loose version of R2-Q2. You can see there's a lot of detail going on. It's been made in a grey plastic. If we rotate the solid dome on the top, you can hear that it still clicks. The body of this is actually based on the pop-up lightsaber version of the droid, but the dome is the solid version of it. You can see there's a slight sort of raised bump, which is the mechanism that would have raised up the lightsaber. And inside there, it's printed in small letters, it says SS to show that this is a Stan Solo creation. As I say, this is the loose version, and with the loose version you can also purchase a third leg. So there we go, that is a third leg. This clips into the bottom of the figure, enabling you to make the droid look like it is rolling along. And I think that is a very nice feature, something that Kenner could have done sort of easily back in the day. And to be honest, they could have actually made a whole load of these droids. I don't know why they didn't bother. They just made R2-D2 and an R5-D4, but really you can see how simple it would have been to make a whole wave of droids, and I'm sure that's something kids would have loved to have bought. Now Hasbro have made their own version of this at some point over the years. I've got one of them here. This is Hasbro's version from a few years back. I think this might have been the Saga edition version of R2-Q2, and you can see the paint is pretty much the same. They've done, you know, the recreation in this vintage style, has managed to match all of the sort of paint detailing that Hasbro did on theirs. But I actually think I prefer this vintage style, just because I'm a sort of vintage collector, so this sort of nice simplistic version of the droid looks much better. This one that Hasbro did, again, it's very detailed, but I never really sort of got into them. I bought them just because I like collecting droids, but I do much prefer this vintage style version of R2-Q2. From The Empire Strikes Back we have 2 figures. We've got R3-Y2 and R3-A2, both of which are seen in Echo Base during the Battle of Hoth. And the interesting thing about these figures is that they have clear domes. So this is the same basic version of the droid, but the dome has now been made in clear plastic, and as you can see it does actually make for quite a striking figure. On the card we have this nice image of R3-A2. Again, it's a sort of composite shot of bits from Echo Base. I do like the way it's been put together because it just has that sort of retro style to it. Also, this is the Empire Strikes Back card. Turn this round and you can see on the back it is a 48 back version of the card, and again right down in the bottom you can see that it says Stan Solo. But these cards shouldn't really fool anyone, because this figure again was never released back sort of when Kenner were producing these toys. And we also have the R3-Y2 figure, so let's take a look at his card. And again, I do really like this card because you never actually get a very good shot of this droid in the movie, and they've chosen a sort of sneaky one here where he's just poking out behind the background of some other characters. I think that's quite nice. Again, nice image. You can see lots of detail on the figure. Both of these figures have little footers as well under their feet, so it's got a nice little lime green background, and the other one was a nice blue. Again, if we turn this over, this is the same backing on the card, so it's a 48 back back card with Stan Solo in the corner. I think I mentioned in my reviews of some of these other figures, it would be quite nice if they managed to sort of sneak these figures sort of onto the back somewhere, but I guess that's quite a hard thing to do. You'd have to recreate this whole photo, but for my sort of nerdiness, I think it would be quite nice just to sort of sneak them in somewhere on there. But overall, I do think the card and the quality of these cards, it just feels like they did back when I was buying them from the shops. Here we have the loose versions of R3-Y2 and R3-A2. As you can see, they are constructed in the same way as the R2-Q2 droid, but the dome has been cast in a clear plastic, so you get to see inside and you can see all the sort of details inside. Really, that's actually just the sort of the screw fixing mechanism, but it does actually give it quite a nice little feature there and gives it some extra details. The paint application has been sort of simplified a bit, and the eye is now just a silver painted circle with some dots next to it. That's very nice though, because it does actually match how you see the droid in the movies. Again, some nice paint application on the legs. This one has been cast in a sort of light grey plastic. Again, it's the same construction with the pop-up lightsaber body there. And again, you can separately buy a third leg for this figure, so if you can slot that in, you can see makes quite a big difference to the droid. And here we have R3-A2, which is the same construction as the droid but with a different sticker. This one is printed in white plastic with a clear dome. It really is nice to see all of these sort of details going on. I do like the way that this has been sort of made to look vintage. This one also has a third leg that you can buy separately, so we can slot that in to make it look the part. This is the same leg that you could have purchased with the R2-D2, so they don't need to remake those because it's all just done in white plastic. But the overall effect of both of these figures, they just look so nice. They have the right sort of feel to them. The plastic that's been used to recreate them is very reminiscent of the plastic that was used back when they were making Star Wars figures in the 70s and 80s, so they really do feel like an old figure and have that same sort of weight to them. Again, the domes on these click, so I can rotate this one. You can hear that it clicks quite nicely. I'll do the same on the R3-Y2 droid, just so you can hear it clicking. I do like the way that these look so retro, and as I mentioned earlier in the video, I think it's a shame that Kenner never bothered to sort of go down this route back sort of in the 70s. It would have been a very easy thing for them to do. They could have produced a whole wave of these, and really I think most children would have picked them up because R2-D2 was a favourite from the movies, and so any sort of droid that went along with him would have been a great addition. But now, if you're sort of wanting to do dioramas and making your vintage toys look sort of exactly how you saw them on Hoth, there's two more droids to add to your sort of setups in these two here. As you can see, Hasbro have had a go at making both of these R3 figures over the years. They do it with sort of varying degrees of getting it right. You can see this one is actually probably the closest version of an R3 droid, where it doesn't have any paintwork around the eye, but they do put a little bit more sort of detail inside the dome because of modern sort of sculpting techniques. But on the whole, Hasbro have sort of got it wrong more times than that. You can see these ones, they just sort of take a droid and paint it up much like other R2-D2s and things that they've been producing at the time. So I think what Chris has done with these Stan Solo versions in that sort of retro style is very nice. It's very in keeping with the old style of the figures, but has the right sort of paint detailing to make them look fairly authentic to the ones that you see in the movies. The final figure in this set of 4 is B0-B4. Now this is a completely custom version of an Astromech droid designed to look like Boba Fett's sort of little second in command. As you can see here, he's got a Boba Fett style sticker on the front, and all the paintwork on his legs is done in the same sort of tones and colours of the original Boba Fett figure. And as you can see, his dome has been cast in a green plastic with nice lots of sort of red detailing and that, and even the little stripes that you see on the Boba Fett helmet. I think this is actually a very nice sort of little custom. It's not something I would have ever thought of doing, but it does work really quite well. And if you stand him next to a Boba Fett like I have here, it does look like he sort of sits with him quite nicely. I think that's a nice little custom to add there. This figure is only available as a loose version. I don't think they're going to be doing carded versions of them, so just grab it as a loose figure, and it's nice to display sort of with your Boba Fett next to his Slave One. Certainly a nice little sort of addition to any collection. I will be putting links in the description to where you can get all of these figures, and if you haven't already, then check out my other reviews of the Stan Solo figures, because he's been producing a lot of other ones. You can see here, this is from a previous review I've done, which is R2-Q5, another Astromech droid, and there's plenty of others, so check out the links. I will again put those in the description and also at the end of this video, so check out all the figures that are available from Stan Solo. These are really lovely figures. I think the quality and sort of time and effort that goes into making them just makes them extra nice, and I still think they are better quality than some of the stuff that Hasbro is producing. The retro collection that Hasbro has produced recently, the first wave at least, I thought were very substandard, and these are far better quality than those. I'm looking forward to reviewing the second wave of the retro collection figures, but for now I think these certainly are far superior figures, so definitely worth getting if you want to increase the amount of Astromech droids you have in your vintage collection. I hope this video has been of interest to you. If you've enjoyed it, then hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow toy-polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.